Good morning, Card Communities. RJ back with another video, so let's get to it. Today's random Mike Schmidt item of the day from 1983. The Star Company release of 15 cards of Mike Schmidt. Now, the Star Company, if you're familiar with it, most people know the basketball sets because of Jordan. But the Star Company was issuing baseball cards for several years too. Very much known for the mid-'80s, 86 through about the early 90s. Star Company was putting out massive amounts of cards of all kinds of players, okay? And the 1983 Star Company Mike Schmidt card, to the best of my ability, this was their first foray into the publishing of cards. Now, I can't swear that, but I'm only going by the tradingcarddatabase.com. When I look on the tradingcarddatabase.com and go back as far as I can, 1983 is the first year they issued a set, and they only issued one set. It is this 15-card release featuring Mike Schmidt. So, fittingly, the greatest player in baseball of all at that time, in 1983, the greatest player active in the game. I welcome the criticism. I welcome your hate. Mike Schmidt was the first feature in a Star Company release. So it's 15 cards, the checklist. This is what they, what was on the back of the cards. I'm not even going to show the back. It's not worthy. Just various stats, okay? So you got a checklist card, his regular season stat card, his postseason stat card. This one blew my mind. The 1981 World Series MVP. Anybody who knows anything knows that it was the 1980 World Series MVP, but it's worse. On the back, it still says 1981 World Series MVP above a print line that acknowledges it was the 1980 World Series. So I don't know who the heck was editing the card set in that year, but they royally screwed up that one. 7-time All-Star. I know he would go on to get a couple more All-Star appearances. 1980 NL MVP, 1981 NL MVP. He would also go on to get the 1986 NL MVP, becoming a 3-time MVP. His Major League home run stats, his power stats, the fact that he had 4 home runs in a game, and then for whatever reason they decided to say 4 consecutive home runs, which was kind of stupid because he had 4 consecutive home runs in the same game that he hit 4 home runs. So it's kind of like a stupid thing to have a repeat card, you know. And also, this picture was taken in Veterans Stadium. You can tell by the seats. The 4 home, plus he's wearing a home uniform. The 4 home run game happened in Chicago, so that's not even an image from his 4 home run game. NL home run stats. Phillies Club Records, Part 1, Phillies Club Records, Part 2, and then some personal data. And I remember thinking, gee, I wonder if the personal data that's there has the same stupid tagline you see on all the back of Mike Schmidt's cartoon Topps cards. You know, like on the back you'll see that little cartoon, whatever, and it'll say, Mike Schmidt likes to play with trains. His hobby is electric trains, but no, they just literally, it's some personal data of Mike Schmidt on the back of that one. So that is my random Mike Schmidt item of the day. Today's random baseball item of the day from 2020, a little 10-card set issued by Leaf for Pete Rose. Pete Rose, the Charlie Hustle edition. I fully believe that Pete needed some money, and he agreed to contract with Leaf. They paid him X amount of money for this privilege, and they issued, and famously in 2020, a lot of people had them. There's a lot of them still out there if you want to go on the bay. It is a 10-card set of Pete Rose, just various images, you know, small little text on the back, really nothing special. But at the end, these 10 images, each one was available. Every box set came with a variation of those cards with a sticker autograph. So in my case, it's card number 1. All right. And you can see on the back, auto number 1. So if you are so inclined, you could go out there and track down the autographed version of each one of these cards. So there's certainly 10 available. Plus, they use different colored ink at times. Plus, I love the fact that the hologram is Pete Rose. It's his, when he set the hit record right there, that image we're all familiar with. It's a really cool little special hologram that he signed sticker auto. But really cool little set from 2020 Leaf. Obviously airbrushed out because it's just between Pete Rose and Leaf. No Major League Baseball affiliation or anything. Couple Phillies cards. Even had, like again, they even had an Expo card in there, which is kind of cool. A couple Phillies cards. I'm happy about that. Anyway, that is my random baseball item of the day. Today's trivia question. In the World Series, 1920 World Series. In the 1920 World Series, Game 5, 5th inning, Bill Wambsgans, little-known player who would not be known at all had not this occurred. Bill Wambsgans was playing second base for the Cleveland Indians, and the Washington Senators were at bat, men on first and second. Runners were put in motion, nobody out. Batter hit a line drive right to Bill Wambsgans, who caught the ball. His momentum took him, and he touched second base, and then the guy coming from first, he just turned around and tagged him. The only unassisted triple play in World Series history accomplished by Bill Wambsgans. It's pretty much all he's known as. Nobody would know him today had not that been the result of that play. My question to you is, who were the 3 Washington Senators players that were responsible for the outs? Who hit the ball? Who was the runner on second? Who was the runner on first? Those were the 3 guys responsible for the outs. Name them. Now, what you're playing for, as always, 3 Hall of Fame cards. I have a 1989 Topps Jim Rice, 1990 Topps Throwback the Clock Sandy Koufax, and a common collection card, Frankie Frisch switch hitters. Those are the 3 cards you're playing for. If you're interested in acquiring those cards, all you got to do is email me a guess on the question. I will include my email in the description below, along with a repeat of that question. You will have today and tomorrow to answer. We will pick a winner on Sunday, all right? Good luck to everybody on that one. So today, I've put a pause on a lot of spending of cards recently because I'm trying to save up some money for the Philly show. That's coming up in December. So whereas I typically spend a couple bucks every month on cards, the next couple months I'm going to pause. In the last few weeks, I haven't bought anything. So I don't have a lot of new things to show, so I'm going to go back and show some old stuff. And since RJ collects sets, I figured I'd show off some of my, what I call sets of sets. What do I mean by that? I'm trying to collect every set issued by certain manufacturers in a certain way. Today, what I'm going to show off is every box set issued by Topps. Every box set Topps ever issued in the box set heyday, meaning from the years 1980 through essentially 1995. That's where you had a lot of box sets. Topps, and I also, how do I define a box set? The simple answer is, if it's labeled as a box set by thetradingcarddatabase.com, that is what I consider a box set. But I also further define a box set that it is if the set of cards was issued as a complete set, in other words, you couldn't buy them individually, it wasn't issued in pack format where less than the whole set was available. It had to be issued in a full set, in a single package, at a single location, typically a retail store. If that is how you acquire the set, then it's a box set. So what I'm going to show off is every Topps set ever issued as a box set. Now, I'm not going to go through the individual cards. I'm just going to hold up the boxes themselves and show you them so you understand. And maybe it'll inspire you guys to go out and get some of these little box sets. The other reason I like the box sets so much is because they're incredibly cheap. You know, a lot of people don't like things that aren't slabbed. They don't like things without a lot of value. I love me some box sets. I think they're the coolest things ever because every card in there typically is an all-star, a Hall of Famer, clearly a legendary player in some regard. Otherwise, why would they be put in this little box set? So let me start off. I'm going to start off with a set that really technically doesn't even fit my definition, but you'll see why, and eventually you'll get it. So, 1981. Drake's Cakes. Drake's Cakes, maker of different snack cakes like Tasty Cakes or Hostess, Entenmann's, issued, they went along with Topps. Topps issued a set of 33 cards. They were the big hitters. You know, what makes a big hitter? The backs are replicas pretty much of their 1981 Topps card. Interestingly, some of these cards would be available in 3 formats. Your standard Topps set, your Drake's Cakes set, and the Coca-Cola 1981 sets, if you remember them. Anyway, these were issued in boxes of snack cakes issued by, produced by Drake's. And they were just laid in there. They were loose. I remember opening up boxes back when I was a kid, and the card was just sitting in there. It would be later on, they would be panel cards. They would be on the back of the cards. Hostess did that famously back in the 70s. But Drake's in 1981 started started putting them in boxes thanks to Topps. It's the only, what I would call, it's not, it's technically it's not a box set, but I keep them with my box sets. 1982 saw Drake's second release. Yellow border. Again, the back mirrors 1982 Topps set, although the numbering was different. That's how, if you see these cards in the wild, you'll know right away it's a Drake's because of the front. And on the back, the numbering would be different. But anyway, same release manner. These were, pre-cut cards dropped inside the boxes of snack cakes. That's how you would get them. But 1982 saw the very first box set ever produced. The very first time, 1982 Kmart, where a set of cards was only available in a box like this at a retail establishment, that being Kmart. That's the only way you could acquire these cards. And we all know our Kmart set. Kmart was celebrating their 20th anniversary, so they issued a set of cards celebrating the past 20 years MVPs. So that's who's in here. I've shown off these cards many times. When they ran out of MVPs, they just threw in 3 more highlight cards that got them to the 44 card set. So that was the first release of a box set by any manufacturer. Again, set of cards issued as a single set in a box at a retail establishment. 1983 and 1984 saw no box sets released by Topps. None. Not at all in 1984. However, interestingly, Drake's kept going, still releasing loose cards inside the boxes of their snack cakes. Drake's had it. But they also offered a mail-in at that time. So for, wrappers and a couple bucks, you could get an actual box set. Now, the reason this doesn't qualify as a box set is because you could also get the cards by buying snack cakes. So technically, this isn't a box set. Even though this is a boxed set of cards, it does not qualify as a box set because there was another way to acquire the cards, that being purchasing boxes of snack cakes and opening it and get one card out. So that's why it doesn't qualify. But it's a cool little set. I was hoping I could find more of these Drake's sets in box format. I do have one more I'll show, but eventually I couldn't find them anymore. I would love to find all of them in that format, but I don't think they exist. So anyway, 1985. 1985, the Drake's company went up a little bigger. They went to 44 card sets now. Okay. And instead of just big hitters, which they had been up until now, they added in super pitchers, if you'll notice, up to 33, it's the hitters. And then they added a bunch of pitchers to get to 44 cards. Kind of a cool thing, you know? Yeah, it's odd, too. I'm looking at this set right here, and it says MSA was involved, which doesn't make any sense to me. MSA is Michael Schechter and Associates, okay? Why would they be involved if Topps is involved? Michael Schechter and Associates famously issued a lot of food product cards, and the cards, they were issued without the logos of the Major League players because Michael Schechter and Associates didn't have the rights to the logos, but Topps does. So I don't know why the heck Michael Schechter and Associates is on a copyright of this card. It doesn't make any sense to me. Just an interesting observation on my end. But that is your Drake's set from 1985. They're still kicking. And then you had a couple newbies to the foray. So in 1985, the Woolworths department store issued a great set. All-time record holders. Now, this is one I highly recommend everybody buy because look at this, the cards on the back. You have the greatest players of all time. Because these are all-time record holders, you literally have some of the greatest players in the history of the baseball available in this card set. So for like $5, maybe $1 if you're lucky and find it that way, you can get a card of all the legends of the Hall of Fame. Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, I think Walter Johnson is in here, just Hank Aaron, Yogi Berra, Mickey Mantle, just the legends. Why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you want to do that? Then another newbie to the box set, Circle K convenience stores for $1.99. You could get their Home Run Kings, and what it was the career leaders in home runs at the time. Interestingly, it's a 33 card set. The cards are numbered to 34. Joe DiMaggio is an asterisk. Why? Because Joe DiMaggio, still living in 1985, was very famous for being I apologize for saying it, very tight with his money, very private. If you were going to use his likeness, you were going to pay out the wazoo for it. So it's likely that Topps just decided they weren't going to bother putting a Joe DiMaggio card in there if they had to pay too much for it. So they went down to number 34, and there is a Lee May card in there instead of Joe DiMaggio. So, also interesting, if you look at both of these card sets, where is it? Right here, okay. Down here, you'll see that this one was printed in the Republic of Ireland. This one as well. This is the first time you will see, let me get it there so you can see it, printed in the Republic of Ireland. This one's right on the back there. This is the first time you'll see Topps going overseas to cut production costs. I found that to be interesting. Because again, if you go back to this one here, it just says, I thought it said it somewhere. Well, if I go back to the Kmart one, you'll just see it says right here, printed in USA. So the original card sets were printed in America, but by 1985, to save costs, Topps was farming out the printing process. 1986, Drake's Cakes switched it up. You'll see that Gary Carter here is one of a series of 37. Why 37? Because they no longer printed them on sheets of cards to be cut later and put in a box set at all. These were issued starting in 1986 on the back of the snack cake panels. That's probably why you can't find any more. I can never find any box sets anymore because they didn't make them for the box sets. Also, they stopped making these backs mirror the standard Topps issues. This is the first year it wasn't done that way. Why? Once again, because they were printed on the back of the boxes, and the backs of your baseball cards tended to be a different color than just plain cardboard. But in a packaging of a box, they didn't want to do that for the whole box, so you're stuck with plain cardboard as your color for the 1986 set. And then in 1986, you had you had a new retailer come on board. Woolworth continued its tradition, $1.99 for a set of star cards. And KB came on board, the young superstars of baseball, KB Toy Stores. Given the fact that it was a toy store, it makes sense they would do the young superstars. Kids don't know your Hall of Famers so much, but they would know all the modern players of baseball. So from 1986, the young stars of baseball, including Donnie Baseball, were in this set. You will not see a Mike Schmidt in this set because he was a veteran by 1986. 1987 saw the boom of the box sets. Now we're doing Topps here, but I will probably show off my Fleer sets on Wednesday. 1987, both Topps and Fleer exploded in the number of box sets they were affiliated with. So we'll start with, excuse me, my mouth's getting a little dry. I want to take a sip of something here. Hang on a second. Talking so much, my mouth's getting a little dry. I got to bump my thing here. So, Drake's is still at it, 1987. They're back to just big hitters because they're back to a 33 card set. Now, again, it was box issued. You could see by the cut lines, it was printed on the back of cards. I'm not aware of a box set version. I would love to find one. Haven't really looked for it, but again, it's printed on plain cardboard. It does not mirror the 1987 set at all. But that's your 1987 Drakes. Another food issue that technically isn't a box set because it wasn't issued in box set format. It came inside products of Nestle. The Nestle All-Time Dream Team. Now, this is another really cool set because it has all of the legends of the game in one set. I mean, just absolute filled with Hall of Famers. The Nestle Dream Team set from 1987. I don't think it was a box set, though, but I keep it with my box set releases. This one's an interesting one. So I have two sets here by Boardwalk and Baseball Inc. I am not aware of who Boardwalk and Baseball Inc. is. If you look at the copyright date, you will see both are copyright 1987 by Boardwalk and Baseball Inc. Two different sets issued by Topps for the exact same institution in the exact same year. Just not something you ever saw. You wouldn't see two different Woolworths releases or Kmart releases or whoever. It just never happened. I don't know why they did this. And what's immensely odd as well, this set of cards, one of the sets is 33, the other is 44. This set of 44 cards from 1987 is the exact same checklist as the Woolworths from 1987 up to 1985. So you'd think, well, gee, maybe they just, use the same design or something. No, these are the exact same cards. If you look at the copyright down there, it is from 1985. This set of 1985 cards, same exact set found in this, was reproduced and printed and issued in this box of 1987 cards. Very odd. I don't think I've ever seen that anywhere else in any other time where it looks like Topps had a whole bunch of cards lying around from that 1985 set that they couldn't sell. The Woolworths had maybe they bought them back from, or they were cranking them out, and Woolworths stopped buying them, and they had a whole bunch left over. And Boardwalk and Baseball said, "We'll take them. You just got to print a new box for us." So that's what Topps did. It's the only thing I can think of why they would do two. But it's a really interesting little subplot to baseball card collecting, I think. Then you get into your standard retail establishments. So Woolworth still cranking out their cards, 33 set, $1.99 for the thing, comes with a stick of bubble gum. Here's your Woolworth set. There's your checklist on the back. Okay. KB was back, $2.99 for their young superstars. Again, these are younger guys. Oh, Mike Schmidt. Oh, this is a superstar. This is a young superstar. So Mike Schmidt had a card in the 87 set. Kmart is back after being out since 1982. Kmart came back with their Stars of the Decades. This is another really great set of cards. Got some all-time greats there. Some of the modern greats here. And then, since KB got involved, Toys R Us decided they had to get involved, and they went back to the rookies. So KB had moved on to the superstars. Toys R Us picked up the mantle and ran with the rookies. So check out the rookies. $1.99 for this box of cards back in the day. You could probably still get it for $1.99. Toys R Us rookies. So all of those boxes, all of these boxes came out in 1987. Not to be undone, 1988 was similarly off the charts. So 1988 would see the final issuance of the Drake's Cakes product, their 8th and final annual edition. Again, printed on the back of the boxes, so the box still looks the same. Drake's Cakes. Then you had your Woolworths. There's your Woolworths. A lot of World Series highlights from that year. This would have been because this is 1988, they had a lot of 1987 World Series cards. I don't know why. I don't know why they made the switch. No real reason. You had your Kmart. They're sticking in it. Memorable moments, they called it that year. KB still in the game with their superstars. This must have been on sale, knocked down from $2. It was $2.99 originally, but they marked down from $2 to $2. KB was still in the game. And then Toys R Us was still in the game. So Toys R Us still going with the baseball rookies. You'll notice, though, they stopped putting gum in the cards finally. And just so you know, they're still being made in Ireland. All right? So those were the basic ones. But then a couple other retailers jumped on board. This is when you started seeing other retailers deciding they wanted to try their hand. So they started contacting Topps and saying, hey, can we get a set of cards? And Topps will do anything for anybody. Rite Aid kicked out a set of cards, $1.69 for a 33-card set, Team MVPs. There's your checklist. And another drugstore, Revco. Revco kicked out a collector box set. Still made in, where are we at? Yep, made in Ireland. There's your Revco set. All right. Now, that was the height. This is where it got really big. Now, there were still a lot of the normal players into it, but it started slowing down a little bit. So you'll have your Woolworths, $2.27 back in the day in 1989 from Woolworths. There's your checklist. And as always, Kmart was in it. Super glossy. But this one did have a piece of bubble gum in it. So that's what was in the card set there. Then, of course, if you're going to have those guys, you're going to have your KB, $2 for the KB Superstars. And, of course, your Toys R Us rookies. 1988 still going for $1.99. And then again, as we had the two drugstores last time, two new department stores came on board in 1980. This was 1988. Hills for $1.97 and Ames for $1.99. Ames did a cool 2020 sub, 2020 the 2020 club, and the Hills Company, 1989, just did team MVPs. But you can see they're winding down. There's not as many in 1989. 1990, still the same group of people. In fact, 1990 is exactly the same. The same manufacturers in 1990 were the same ones in 1989. So you got your Woolworth, baseball highlights. You got your Kmart, baseball superstars. You got your KB Kings of Baseball. And you got your Toys R Us. Still for only $1.99. Let's say they're still manufactured in Ireland by 1990. And interestingly, for whatever reason, I guess nobody else wanted to jump in the game, but the other two guys stuck on. 1990 saw the return of both Ames and Hills department stores kicking out another 33 cards. Although, check this out, Hills beats Ames, $1.86 to $1.99. But there's your checklists. For whatever reason, 1990 was the last gasp of most of these players. Most of them bowed out. Okay? Woolworth hung on till the end. 1991, $2.49. Woolworth is still kicking out your cards. And the only other one that bothered to join that year, 1991 Toys R Us, $1.99. And that is the end of the Topps run of box sets. Never again did Topps issue a small card deck size release of cards in a retail setting. Hasn't been done since. And what I've just shown you is, like I said, every set issued by Topps to any retail establishment from 1981 through 1991. There's never been another release by Topps manufactured for release in a retail setting at $5 or something like that. Hasn't happened since. Don't know if it ever will. With the popularity of baseball cards today, I'm not really sure why some of these retail establishments don't do it. You got Walmart, you got Target, you got, who else is out there, with cards in their lobby? Some of the smaller department stores, some of the drug stores, Walgreens, CVS, they could all issue little packs of cards, little box sets. I don't know why they don't do it, but they don't. I know that you still get food products doing it once in a while. Utz Potato Chips did it, I think, back in 2019 or 2020. A couple other food issues still come up once in a while, but the box set had its day, and it's over now. So that is my complete run of every box set issued by Topps, according to the tradingcarddatabase.com. Hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget about the trivia question. Like I said, I will, if you want to know ahead of time what I'm doing on Wednesday, I'm going to do my Fleer run. So get ready for that, all right? That's all I have for you today. Have a great rest of your week. See you on Wednesday. Take care.